Aisha had just moved to a new city for university. Everything felt big and strange. On her first day, she got lost in the long hallways of the campus. Her heart was beating fast, and she felt nervous. As she turned a corner, she bumped into a boy holding some books. Her papers fell on the floor. "I'm so sorry," she said quickly. The boy smiled and helped her pick them up. "My name is Zion," he said kindly. "You must be new here." Aisha nodded and told him she couldn't find her class. Zion looked at her schedule and said, "I'll take you there." They walked together through the busy hall. He told her about the university and where things were. His voice was calm, and Aisha felt a little better. She was thankful for his help. After that day, they saw each other often. Sometimes in the library, sometimes in the canteen. Zion always smiled when he saw her. Aisha smiled back, feeling warm inside. One day, they were put in the same group for a class project. They spent hours working together. They laughed at silly mistakes and helped each other with ideas. Aisha began to enjoy her days more. Zion noticed how smart and kind Aisha was. He liked how she listened carefully when he spoke. She was shy, but her eyes were full of light. He felt something special growing inside. Aisha, too, felt something different. She looked forward to their talks and study times. When she felt sad or tired, his messages made her smile. Slowly, she started to care for him. One evening, it began to rain. Aisha had no umbrella. She stood near the gate, trying to stay dry. Suddenly, Zion came running with his umbrella and said, "Come, I'll walk you home." As they walked in the rain, they didn't speak much. But the silence was sweet. Aisha looked at him and smiled. That was the moment she felt her heart beat a little faster. Weeks passed, and their bond grew stronger. They became best friends, but both were scared to say more. What if the other didn't feel the same? Still, they kept hoping. One night after a study session, Zion stopped her. "Aisha," he said softly, "I feel something when I'm with you. I don't want to hide it anymore. I think I like you." Aisha felt her cheeks turn red. She looked down and said, "I feel it too." Their eyes met in the soft light, and both knew their lives had just changed. It was a quiet, lovely moment. From that day, they spent more time together. They shared small dreams and long walks. They supported each other through exams, stress, and family worries. Their love grew gently. But life was about to change again. Zion got a job offer in another country. It was a big chance for him, something he had worked for. Still, his heart felt heavy. "I don't want to leave you," he told Aisha. She held his hand and said, "Go chase your dream. I'll be here, waiting." Her eyes were filled with love and strength. They promised to stay in touch and call every night. Though it was hard, they believed in each other. Days turned to months, but their love stayed strong. They never gave up. 1 year later, Zion returned, standing at the airport with flowers in his hand. Aisha ran to him with tears and joy. He whispered, "I'm never leaving you again." And just like that, the story that began with a small smile and kind help turned into something beautiful. All from the moment when their eyes first met. Aisha couldn't believe he was really back. Zion looked the same, but there was something new in his eyes. He looked stronger, more confident. But his smile, the one she loved, hadn't changed. They sat at a small cafe near the airport. It was the same place they once visited before he left. "You remembered this place," Aisha said. Zion smiled and nodded, "How could I forget?" Over coffee, they talked for hours. Zion told her about his new job, the challenges he faced, and how he missed her every single day. Aisha listened closely, her heart full of joy. "I counted the days," he said. "Every night I wished to be with you again. Aisha reached for his hand and whispered, "I did the same. You were always in my heart." The next few weeks were full of happiness. They visited old spots around campus. They walked through parks, sat by the lake, and laughed like they used to. Everything felt right again. Zion met Aisha's family soon after. Her mother liked him at once. "He's a good man," she told Aisha later. Her little brother called him the umbrella guy and made everyone laugh. Zion's parents also met Aisha. His mother said, "She's kind and respectful. You're lucky." Zion smiled and said, "I know." Their families started spending time together on weekends. One evening, Zion and Aisha watched the sunset together. He took out a small box from his pocket. Her heart stopped for a second. "Aisha," he said, "will you walk beside me forever?" Tears filled her eyes as she said, "Yes, Zion. 1,000 times yes." He placed the ring gently on her finger. They hugged, their hearts beating close. It was a perfect moment. Their wedding was simple and beautiful. Just close friends and family. Aisha wore a soft pink dress, and Zion looked at her like she was a dream. Everyone smiled, some even cried. They moved into a small apartment not far from the university. Life was not always easy. There were bills, late nights, and sometimes small fights. But love helped them through it all. Aisha found a job at a school nearby. She taught little children and loved every minute. Zion worked long hours, but always made time for dinner and walks with her. Every night before bed, they sat by the window. They would talk, laugh, or just hold hands in silence. It became their sweet little habit, something that made them feel close. One rainy day, Aisha was late from school. She had no umbrella. As she walked in the rain, Zion appeared again, just like the first time, with his old blue umbrella. They both laughed. "Some things never change," she said. "And I hope they never do," Zion replied. They walked home, soaked but happy. Rain had always been part of their love story. As years passed, their bond only grew. They faced hard times, like illness and job changes. But they never stopped caring. They reminded each other of their first meeting during tough days. One night, Zion surprised Aisha with an old photo. It was from their university days. "Look how far we've come," he said. Aisha smiled and whispered, "All from one moment, when our eyes first met." They knew love wasn't just big moments. It was in daily kindness, in quiet support, and in walking together, no matter the weather. Their story was simple, but full of heart. And so, their journey continued, 2 hearts, 1 path, and a love that began the moment their eyes first met. 5 years ago, Mia and Leo met on the first day of college. They sat next to each other in class and bonded over their love for pizza. By the end of the week, they were already laughing like old friends. Little did they know, this was just the beginning. Over the years, they shared countless memories. From late-night study sessions to spontaneous road trips, they were always together. They celebrated birthdays, failures, and small victories side by side. Their friendship grew stronger with every passing day. There were tough times too, like when Mia moved away for a job. They promised to stay in touch, and they did, calling every week and visiting when they could. Distance tested them. But their bond never broke. They knew true friendship could survive anything. Now, 5 years later, they sat under their favorite tree, just like they did in college. They laughed about old memories and dreamed about the future. "Here's to 5 more years," Mia said, raising her coffee cup. Leo smiled and clinked his cup against hers. And many more after that. One summer, they decided to take a trip to the beach. The car broke down halfway, leaving them stranded for hours. Instead of getting upset, they turned it into an adventure. They sang silly songs and told stories until help arrived. That day became one of their favorite memories. Mia always hated horror movies, but Leo convinced her to watch one. She spent the whole time hiding behind a pillow. Leo teased her for weeks, but he also made sure she felt safe. It was these little moments that made their friendship special. When Leo lost his job, Mia was the first person he called. She showed up with his favorite food and listened for hours. She reminded him that failures were just temporary. With her support, he found the courage to try again. On their 5th anniversary, they threw a small party. Friends and family gathered to celebrate their bond. There was food, music, and a slideshow of their best moments. Everyone could see how much they meant to each other. As the night ended, they sat outside under the stars. "Remember when we first met?" Leo asked with a smile. Mia nodded. Best accidental friendship ever. They both laughed, knowing more adventures awaited. 5 years was just the start. That winter, they volunteered at a shelter together. Mia organized donations while Leo cooked meals for guests. They worked in comfortable silence, knowing each other's rhythms. The joy on people's faces made their bond grow deeper. Leo surprised Mia with concert tickets for her birthday. She screamed when she saw her favorite band's name. During the show, they sang every lyric at the top of their lungs. Strangers around them smiled at their infectious energy. When Mia's grandmother passed away, Leo canceled his weekend plans. He brought tissues, homemade soup, and old photo albums. They spent hours remembering happy stories together. Mia realized no one understood her pain like he did. They started a new tradition: monthly friendship challenges. One month they tried pottery class, another month they learned basic sign language. Some attempts were hilarious failures, but they always had fun. The challenges kept their connection fresh and exciting. On New Year's Eve, they made predictions for the coming years. Leo swore they'd open a cafe together someday. Mia joked they'd be old neighbors in a retirement home. As fireworks exploded overhead, they hugged, grateful for their unbreakable friendship. Spring brought their first big fight over a silly board game. They didn't speak for 3 whole days, which felt strange. Then Mia showed up with apology cupcakes, and Leo had drawn a funny card. They agreed never to go to bed angry again. They adopted matching friendship bracelets on vacation. The local artisan said they brought good luck to relationships. Though they usually hated cheesy things, they wore them proudly. The bracelets became their silent reminder of loyalty. When Leo got sick before an important presentation, Mia stepped in. She stayed up all night helping him prepare slides. Her terrible impression of his boss made him laugh through his fever. He aced the presentation thanks to her support. They created a secret language of inside jokes and looks. A raised eyebrow or certain word could send them into giggles. Friends rolled their eyes at their twin telepathy, but they loved their private connection. It was their special superpower. As summer returned, they sat by the lake watching sunset colors dance on water. No words were needed in this perfect moment. 5 years had taught them the language of comfortable silence. The future stretched before them, full of possibilities. Mia got a promotion that required moving across the country. They spent her last week visiting all their favorite spots in town. At the airport, Leo handed her a journal labeled "Open when you miss home." The first page contained his phone number circled 10 times. Time zones made calls difficult, but they adapted. Wednesday nights became their sacred video chat time. They'd eat the same takeout while watching movies simultaneously. Screens couldn't diminish their comfort with each other. Leo secretly flew out for Mia's birthday that first year. Her shocked scream when he appeared at her door woke her neighbors. They spent the weekend exploring her new city together. Every unfamiliar street became exciting when discovered side by side. When Mia's new friends asked about her person back home, she showed them the framed photo from Leo's graduation. His arm was slung around her shoulders, both mid-laugh. "That's my best friend," she'd say, and strangers could see 5 years of love in that picture. They started mailing each other memory boxes every season. Leo sent fall leaves from their old college campus. Mia mailed seashells from her new coastal home. The boxes overflowed with handwritten notes and inside jokes only they understood. During a visit home, they discovered their old coffee shop had closed. They mourned the loss over bad diner coffee, then decided to create new traditions. Leo found a bakery that became their new Saturday morning spot. Some things changed, but their routine didn't. Mia's mom started calling Leo "my bonus child." He helped fix her leaky sink during visits, earning permanent fridge rights. Family gatherings felt incomplete if one was missing. Their friendship had woven itself into their families' lives. They finally took that camping trip they'd always talked about. It rained the whole weekend, soaking all their supplies. Huddled in a damp tent playing cards, they decided it was their best vacation yet. Perfect moments didn't need perfect conditions. When Leo got engaged, his fiancée insisted Mia be his best woman. She cried through the entire proposal story. Their friendship had always made space for new love, never feeling threatened. True bonds only grew wider to include others. Now when people asked how long they'd been friends, they smiled. 5 years, they'd say, then pause. Plus today. Because their friendship wasn't just about the past, it kept growing with each sunrise. The best chapters were still unwritten. Mia surprised Leo by showing up at his softball game unannounced. She hadn't seen him play since college, but still remembered all his old superstitions. When she cheered from the stands, he hit his first home run of the season. They started a shared playlist called Our Soundtrack. It began with songs from their college days, growing with each passing year. Now it automatically updated when either added a song, surprising the other at random moments. Music became their time machine. When Leo's childhood dog passed away, Mia sent a care package. It contained his dog's favorite toy, now a stuffed animal replica. The note simply read, "Good boys live forever in our hearts." Leo kept it on his nightstand for months. They developed an annual friendship review tradition. Over pancakes, they'd discuss what worked that year and what to improve. It started as a joke but became meaningful check-ins. Their honesty kept the friendship healthy through life changes. A power outage trapped them in Mia's apartment for a whole day. With no phones or lights, they talked for hours by candlelight. They discovered new things about each other, even after 5 years. Sometimes modern distractions hid the simplest joys. Leo started teaching Mia how to cook his grandma's recipes. She burned the first 3 attempts but finally mastered her meatballs. Now they made the dish together every Christmas Eve, continuing the tradition in their own way. When Mia got stuck in another country during a work trip, Leo stayed up all night helping. He researched flights, contacted embassies, even found her a safe hotel. Distance never mattered when real help was needed. Their friends often asked their secret to lasting friendship. They'd exchange a glance before answering, show up, stay honest, and never stop being silly. Simple rules that carried them through half a decade and counting. On their 5th anniversary, they returned to their college campus. Sitting on their old bench, they marveled at how much had changed, and how much hadn't. The essence of their friendship remained, just wiser and more resilient. They bought matching coffee mugs that said EST 2018 underneath. Every morning sip became a small celebration of their bond. The simple ritual reminded them friendship thrives in daily moments, not just grand gestures. When asked about future plans, they joked about buying neighboring rocking chairs. But beneath the laughter was truth. They couldn't imagine life without this connection. 5 years had proven some things only grow more precious with time. As the sun set on their anniversary dinner, Leo raised his glass. "To 5 years of us," he said. Mia clinked hers against it, adding, "and to all the years still waiting to surprise us." The best friendships, they knew, never stop unfolding. Emma moved into an old house. The walls were cracked, the air cold. But the mirror in her room looked new. One night, she saw something strange. A girl stood behind her reflection. But when she turned, no one was there. The next day, it happened again. The girl in the mirror smiled. Her eyes were black, her lips blood red. Emma tried to ignore it. She covered the mirror with a sheet. But at midnight, she heard scratching. The sheet slid to the floor. The girl was closer now. Her fingers pressed against the glass. Emma screamed and ran. She called her friend for help. But when they checked, the mirror was empty. That night, Emma woke up freezing. The room was dark and silent. Then she heard a whisper, "Let me out." She turned toward the mirror. The girl's hand was reaching out. This time, it wasn't just glass. Emma tried to run again. But the girl grabbed her wrist. Her reflection grinned, "Now you're mine." The next morning, Emma was gone. Her family searched everywhere. Only the mirror remained, flawless and cold. Sometimes, if you look too long, you'll see two girls staring back. One is crying. The other is smiling. Emma's family never found her. The police searched for months. But the mirror stayed in her empty room. One day, her little sister, Lily, wandered into the room alone. She saw her reflection, and another face. The girl in the mirror smiled. Lily reached out, curious. The glass felt soft, like water. Their fingers almost touched. Then Mom called Lily for dinner. The moment was broken. That night, Lily had nightmares. She dreamed of a dark room. And a girl crying for help. The next day, Lily looked again. This time, the girl looked scared. Her mouth moved, "Run." Lily told her parents everything. They finally noticed the mirror. Dad decided to smash it. He grabbed a hammer. The girl in the mirror screamed. The glass cracked on its own. Black liquid oozed out. A cold hand shot through. It grabbed Dad's arm. Mom pulled him away just in time. The mirror shattered into pieces. The room fell silent. But that night, Lily woke up. Her bathroom mirror was fogged up. Words appeared, "You can't escape." Now, in every house they move to, mirrors show the same face. The girl is always watching. And sometimes, late at night, Lily hears a faint whisper, "I'm closer than you think." Lily was tired of being afraid. She researched old books and legends. There had to be a way to win. An old librarian told her the truth. The mirror was a prison for lost souls. The girl was trapped, not evil. Lily learned a strange ritual. She needed 3 things to break the curse. A silver coin, a red ribbon, and a name. That night, she stood before her mirror. She placed the coin against the glass. "Tell me your real name," she demanded. The girl's face appeared, angry at first. Then tears filled her black eyes. "Anna," she whispered. "My name is Anna." Lily tied the red ribbon around the mirror. She repeated the words from the book. "Anna, you are free now." The mirror shook violently. A bright light flashed from within. Then, silence. When Lily opened her eyes, the mirror showed only her reflection. But something felt different. In the corner of her room, a faint shadow smiled at her. Then it faded like morning mist. The next day, all mirrors were normal. No whispers, no cold hands. Just ordinary glass. But sometimes, when Lily passes a mirror, she thinks she sees a quick smile. A thank you from beyond. Months passed in peaceful silence. Lily almost forgot about Anna. Then winter came, and the whispers returned. It started with her reflection blinking. Just once, so fast she doubted it. Then her bathroom mirror fogged up strangely. Words appeared in the condensation, "You helped me. Now I'll help you." Lily's breath caught in her throat. That night, her dreams were vivid. Anna stood in a glowing white room. "Something worse is coming," she warned. Lily woke to a crashing sound. Her dresser mirror had shattered. Shards formed an arrow pointing, downstairs. She followed the trail nervously. It led to the basement door, locked for years, now slightly open. Inside, one wall pulsed strangely. The old wallpaper peeled itself back, revealing another hidden mirror. This one was ancient, framed in black wood. And in its depths, something moved. Not Anna, something hungrier. Anna's voice echoed faintly, "Break it before the new moon." But the mirror was already cracking on its own. Lily stumbled back in terror. The black mirror's surface bubbled like tar. A skeletal hand pressed against the glass. Anna's ghost appeared beside her. Her form flickered like candlelight. "It's too strong, you need my help." Lily grabbed an old fire poker. She swung at the evil mirror. But it caught the metal like putty. The room temperature plummeted. Frost spread across the walls. The thing in the mirror was coming through. Anna did something unexpected. She stepped between Lily and the mirror. "This time, I'll protect you." Light exploded from Anna's ghost. The black mirror screamed like a living thing. Then, silence. Absolute darkness. When Lily's phone flashlight came on, the mirror lay in harmless shards. Anna was gone. Truly gone. But in Lily's palm, a warm silver pendant appeared. Engraved with one word, family. Lily kept the silver pendant always. It grew warm whenever danger neared. Anna's protection never faded. At college, Lily studied paranormal history. She met others with similar experiences. Together, they formed a ghost helping group. One rainy October night, her pendant turned ice cold suddenly. The dorm bathroom lights flickered wildly. Lily looked up slowly, and saw writing in the steam, "I'm proud of you, little sister." When she touched the words, the pendant glowed gold briefly. Then the room returned to normal. Now Lily teaches others the truth, not all ghosts mean harm. Some become family.
Liam and Max were best friends since childhood. They played, laughed, and shared every secret. No matter what happened, they always stood by each other. Their bond was stronger than anything. One day, Liam's family had to move far away. Both friends cried, but they promised to stay connected. They wrote letters and called every week. Distance couldn't break their friendship. Years later, they met again at college. Felt like no time had passed. Their laughter and trust were still the same. The unbreakable bond had survived every challenge. In the end, they realized true friendship lasts forever. No distance or time could change their hearts. They knew they would always be there for each other. Bond was truly unbreakable. Liam and Max grew up in a small town doing everything together. They climbed trees, rode bikes, and dreamed of adventures. Their friendship was built on trust and joy. Nothing could ever come between them. When Liam moved away, Max felt lost at first, but their letters kept their spirits alive. They shared stories, jokes, and even sent small gifts. Their bond grew stronger despite the miles. In college, they reunited and picked up right where they left off. They studied together, supported each other's dreams, and faced challenges side by side. Their friendship was their greatest strength. As adults, life got busier, but they always made time for each other. When Max started a business, Liam was his first investor. When Liam got married, Max was his best man. Their bond only deepened with time. Years later, they sat on a porch watching their kids play together. The next generation was now forming the same unbreakable bond. Liam and Max smiled, knowing their friendship would live on forever. True friendship never fades, it only grows. When retirement came, Liam and Max bought neighboring houses by a lake. They spent mornings fishing and evenings telling old stories. Their laughter still echoed just like when they were boys. Time had only made their friendship richer. One winter, Liam fell ill, and Max stayed by his side every day. He read their old letters aloud and reminded Liam of their adventures. Even in hard times, their bond gave them strength. Liam recovered, thanks to Max's care. On their 70th birthday, their families threw a big celebration. Grandchildren listened wide-eyed to tales of their lifelong friendship. The lesson was clear: true friends are life's greatest treasure. Love and loyalty outlast everything. When Max passed away peacefully in his sleep, Liam held his hand till the end. At the funeral, Liam smiled through tears, knowing their bond wasn't broken, just changed. Some connections are too strong for even death to break. After Max's passing, Liam would visit their favorite fishing spot every Sunday. He'd bring 2 cups of coffee, one for himself, one for Max. The birds still sang, the water still rippled, and their memories stayed alive in his heart. Liam's grandchildren loved hearing Uncle Mac's stories before bed. They learned how real friendship means showing up in good times and bad. The lessons of their bond passed to a new generation. One spring morning, Liam didn't wake up. His family found him smiling, a photo of young Max and him on his chest. The town remembered them as the pair who proved friendship could last a lifetime. Years later, 2 saplings were planted where they used to fish. As the trees grew side by side, their branches intertwined, just like the unbreakable bond of 2 best friends. The legend of Liam and Max lived on. The twin trees became a local landmark, where teenagers made promises and elders shared wisdom. A small plaque between them read, "Like Liam and Max, grow together, stand together." Their story became the town's favorite lesson about friendship. Every year on their birthday, people left fishing lures and coffee cups at the tree's base. The tradition grew until it became the Day of Friendship, celebrated throughout the community with acts of kindness. A great-granddaughter wrote a book about their extraordinary bond. It traveled across the world, inspiring others to cherish their friendships. Schools used it to teach about loyalty and lasting connections. When storms came, the trees bent but never broke. Their roots had grown so deep and intertwined that they supported each other naturally. Just like the friendship they represented, they withstood every challenge together. A terrible hurricane once ravaged the town, toppling buildings and uprooting trees. When the storm passed, people gasped. The twin trees still stood, leaning against each other for support. Their survival became a symbol of hope for the entire community. Scientists came to study the remarkable trees, discovering their roots shared nutrients perfectly. They published papers calling it the friendship symbiosis, amazed by nature's perfect mirror of human connection. The local artist carved a bench between the trees where visitors could sit. Strangers often met there and left as friends, continuing Liam and Max's legacy of connection. Some said you could still hear quiet laughter in the wind. Generations later, when the trees finally completed their natural life cycle, the town preserved their wood. Master craftsmen created keepsake boxes given to every newborn, ensuring the unbreakable bond would live forever in homes and hearts. The keepsake boxes became family treasures, passed down with letters inside about important friendships. Children would add mementos: a seashell from a beach trip, a ticket stub from a first concert. Each box told its own story of connection. A museum exhibit featured the original Liam and Max box alongside modern ones. Visitors could scan QR codes to hear different friendship stories from around the world. The exhibit traveled globally for 10 years. When the town celebrated its bicentennial, they planted 2 new saplings from the original tree's seeds. The mayor's speech reminded everyone that while buildings may crumble, true relationships endure through time. Today, if you visit the park at dusk, you might see fireflies dancing between the young trees. Some say they form shapes: 2 boys fishing, 2 men shaking hands, a reminder that some bonds never really fade away. A young filmmaker created a documentary about the friendship boxes phenomenon. It showed how strangers from different cultures connected over Liam and Max's story. The film won awards, but more importantly, sparked new friendships worldwide. The town library started a friendship diary, where visitors could share their stories. Over time, it grew into hundreds of volumes, each page filled with tales of loyalty and love. Librarians called it the most borrowed collection. Scientists developed a special soil blend from the original tree's nutrients. They gave it to community gardens globally, calling it friendship growth. Plants grown in it flourished remarkably, just like relationships nurtured with care. At the park's entrance, a hologram display now shows Liam and Max's story. Children can press buttons to see different scenes from their lives. The final image always shows their smiling faces with one word glowing beneath: together. The hologram display inspired a virtual reality experience where people could Meet Liam and Max. Users left feeling inspired to reconnect with old friends, leading to countless reunited friendships across the globe. Therapists even began using it in counseling sessions. A tech company created an app based on the friendship boxes concept. Users could digitally store memories, set reminders to check on friends, and share friendship moments. It became especially popular during times when people felt isolated. Botanists noticed something extraordinary. The new sapling's leaves formed perfect heart shapes when viewed from above. The discovery made international news, with many calling it nature's final tribute to an unbreakable bond. On clear nights, astronomers identified a new constellation near the Big Dipper. They named it the Friends, two bright stars close enough to appear connected, just like Liam and Max in everyone's memory. The constellation inspired an annual Friendship Night festival where people gathered under the stars. They'd share picnic dinners and exchange small gifts symbolizing their bonds. The event spread to cities worldwide, creating new traditions of connection. A children's cartoon series about Liam and Max became wildly popular. Each episode taught subtle lessons about empathy, forgiveness, and showing up for others. Teachers reported kids resolving conflicts better after watching. When archaeologists excavated the original fishing spot centuries later, they found the coffee cups perfectly preserved. The discovery renewed interest in the story, proving everyday objects can outlast empires when filled with meaning. Psychologists identified the Liam and Max effect. Friendships that last beyond 50 years significantly increase longevity and happiness. Their research paper concluded, the best investment isn't money, but time in true friends. The discovery led to friendship wellness programs in hospitals and schools. Doctors prescribed social connection as preventive medicine, while workplaces implemented friend-building activities. The approach reduced loneliness epidemics globally. A Mars colony named their first greenhouse Liam and Max's Oasis. Inside grew earth plants from the special friendship soil. Colonists said caring for them reminded them of bonds back home, making space feel less lonely. The original town built a friendship bridge where visitors could attach engraved locks. Unlike other love lock bridges, these symbolized platonic bonds. Every year, thousands came to celebrate their non-romantic soulmates. When humanity made first contact with aliens, the Liam and Max story was included in cultural exchanges. Surprisingly, the universal themes resonated across species, becoming the foundation for interstellar friendship treaties. In the heart of a bustling city, amidst the towering skyscrapers and the ceaseless hum of traffic, lived a young boy named Tim. Tim was an imaginative child, always lost in his own world of fantasies and dreams. One day, while exploring the attic of his old house, he stumbled upon a dusty old clock. It was unlike any clock he had ever seen, with intricate carvings and strange symbols adorning its face. As he brushed away the cobwebs, the clock sprang to life, its hands spinning wildly. Suddenly, Tim felt a strange sensation, as if the world around him was shifting and distorting. When he opened his eyes, he found himself standing in a bustling marketplace, surrounded by people dressed in strange clothes. He had traveled back in time. Tim was both excited and scared. He had always dreamed of visiting the past, but now that he was here, he didn't know what to do. He wandered through the marketplace, marveling at the sights and sounds, until he came across a group of children playing a game he didn't recognize. He decided to join them, hoping to learn more about this time period. The children welcomed him into their game, and soon Tim was laughing and playing alongside them, forgetting all about his worries. As the sun began to set, Tim realized he had to return to his own time. He found the old clock, its hands still spinning, and touched its face. Once again, the world around him shifted and distorted, and when he opened his eyes, he was back in his own attic, the clock silent and still. Tim's adventure had changed him. He was no longer the same imaginative child, lost in his own world. He had experienced the past, and it had opened his eyes to the wonders of history and the importance of preserving it. He became a student of history, eager to learn more about the world around him and the people who had come before him. And every now and then, he would look at the old clock in the attic, remembering his extraordinary journey through time. Tim, a boy with eyes as bright as polished pennies and a mind that wandered through realms of imagination, lived in a house that seemed to whisper secrets of bygone eras. It was an old house, with creaking floorboards and dusty corners, a perfect playground for a child with a penchant for the extraordinary. The attic, a realm of forgotten treasures and whispered tales, was Tim's favorite sanctuary. One dreary afternoon, while rain lashed against the attic window, Tim decided to explore deeper into the shadows. He pushed aside cobweb-laden trunks and peered into dusty boxes, his heart pounding with anticipation. In the dim light, he spotted something glinting, an old clock, unlike any he had ever seen. It wasn't just a clock. It was a masterpiece of craftsmanship, with intricate carvings of strange symbols and gears that seemed to move with a life of their own. As Tim reached out to touch it, a strange energy pulsed through his fingertips. The clock's hands began to spin wildly, faster and faster, until they were a blur of motion. The air around him shimmered and distorted, and a dizzying sensation washed over him. He felt as if he were being pulled through a swirling vortex, the world around him dissolving into a kaleidoscope of colors and shapes. When the spinning stopped and Tim's vision cleared, he found himself standing in a bustling marketplace, a cacophony of sounds and smells assaulting his senses. The air was thick with the aroma of spices and unfamiliar foods. The people around him were dressed in strange, colorful garments, their voices a melodic babble of an unknown language. Tim had landed in the heart of a medieval city, a vibrant tapestry of life from centuries past. He was both terrified and exhilarated. He had always dreamed of time travel, but now that he was here, he felt a wave of disorientation. The cobblestone streets were crowded with merchants hawking their wares, artisans crafting their goods, and children chasing each other through the throngs of people. He wandered through the marketplace, his eyes wide with wonder. He saw a blacksmith hammering a glowing piece of metal, a baker pulling loaves of bread from a brick oven, and a scribe carefully copying a manuscript. He watched as a group of musicians played lively tunes on strange instruments, their melodies filling the air with joy. Lost in the spectacle, Tim bumped into a young girl with bright, inquisitive eyes. She was carrying a basket filled with colorful flowers. "Excuse me," Tim said, his voice trembling slightly. The girl looked up at him, her eyes widening in surprise. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice clear and melodic. Tim hesitated, unsure of how to explain his presence. "I'm Tim," he said finally. "I'm from far away." The girl tilted her head, her eyes filled with curiosity. "Far away? I've never seen anyone dressed like you before." Tim looked down at his modern clothes, feeling out of place. "I'm from another time," he said, deciding to be honest. The girl's eyes sparkled. "Another time? That's amazing. My name is Lara. Come, I'll show you around." Lara led Tim through the marketplace, explaining the different stalls and the people who worked there. She introduced him to her friends, a group of mischievous children who were playing a game with wooden hoops and sticks. Tim joined in, forgetting his worries as he laughed and played with his new friends. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the marketplace, Lara took Tim to her home, a small cottage on the edge of the city. Her family welcomed him warmly, offering him a simple meal of bread, cheese, and stew. They were kind and generous, and Tim felt a sense of belonging he hadn't expected. That night, Tim slept on a straw mattress in Lara's room, the sounds of the city lulling him to sleep. He dreamed of knights and dragons, of castles and kings, his imagination fueled by the sights and sounds of the day. The next morning, Lara took Tim to the city's grand library, a towering building filled with scrolls and books. Tim was amazed by the sheer amount of knowledge stored within its walls. He spent hours browsing through the manuscripts, learning about the history and culture of this time period. He learned about the powerful kingdoms and the brave knights who defended them. He learned about the wise scholars and the skilled artisans who contributed to the city's prosperity. He learned about the everyday lives of the people, their joys and sorrows, their hopes and dreams. As the days turned into weeks, Tim became a part of Lara's life, a friend and confidant. He learned their language, their customs, and their traditions. He even learned to play their games and sing their songs. He felt as if he had found a second home, a place where he truly belonged. But Tim knew he couldn't stay in the past forever. He missed his family, his home, and his own time. He missed the familiar comforts of his modern life. He missed the internet, the movies, and the video games. One evening, as Tim sat by the fire with Lara's family, he told them about his time travel adventure and his desire to return home. They listened patiently, their faces filled with understanding. "We will miss you, Tim," Lara's father said, "but we understand your longing for your own time." Lara's mother nodded. "We will never forget you," she said, her voice filled with warmth. Lara took Tim's hand. "I'll miss you the most," she said, her eyes glistening with tears. The next day, Lara led Tim back to the marketplace, to the spot where he had first arrived. The old clock was there, its hands still spinning, waiting for him. Tim hugged Lara tightly, tears streaming down his face. "I'll never forget you," he whispered. He touched the clock's face, and the world around him began to spin again. He felt a familiar dizzying sensation, and then everything went black. When Tim opened his eyes, he was back in his attic, the clock silent and still. He looked around, his heart pounding. Had it all been a dream? He ran downstairs, his voice echoing through the empty house. "Mom! Dad!" His parents rushed into the living room, their faces etched with worry. "Tim, where have you been? We've been looking everywhere for you." Tim hugged them tightly, tears of relief streaming down his face. "I'm back," he said, his voice trembling. "I'm really back." He told them about his time travel adventure, about Lara and her family, about the medieval city and its vibrant life. His parents listened patiently, their eyes filled with disbelief and wonder. "It sounds like you had quite an adventure," his father said, smiling. "It was real," Tim insisted. "It was all real." His parents exchanged a glance, unsure of what to believe, but they could see the sincerity in Tim's eyes, the passion in his voice. From that day on, Tim was a changed boy. He carried the memories of his time travel adventure with him, a secret treasure that shaped his life. He became a student of history, eager to learn more about the past. He read books, visited museums, and watched documentaries, immersing himself in the stories of bygone eras. He never forgot Lara and her family. He often wondered what they were doing, what their lives were like. He imagined them growing up, getting married, and having children of their own. One day, while browsing through an old bookstore, Tim stumbled upon a book about medieval history. He opened it, and his eyes widened in surprise. There, on a faded page, was a picture of Lara, her face as bright and beautiful as he remembered. The caption beneath the picture read, "Lara, a young girl who lived in the city of Ethelgard in the 14th century. She was known for her kindness and her love of learning." Tim's heart swelled with joy. He had found Lara again, not in person, but in the pages of history. He knew then that their connection was real, a thread that stretched across time. He continued to study history, his passion fueled by his personal experience. He became a historian, dedicating his life to preserving the stories of the past. He traveled the world, visiting ancient ruins and historical sites, searching for clues about the lives of those who had come before him. And every now and then, he would return to the attic, to the old clock that had started it all. He would touch its face, remembering his extraordinary journey through time, and the girl who had shown him the beauty of the past. He knew that the threads of yesterday were woven into the fabric of today, and that the stories of the past were always waiting to be discovered. Tim's discovery of Lara's image in the history book was a watershed moment. It transformed his fascination with the past from a whimsical curiosity into a deeply personal quest. He no longer just read about history, he felt it, he breathed it. He understood that the people he read about were not just names and dates on a page, but individuals with lives as rich and complex as his own. He began to focus his studies on the 14th century, specifically the region where Ethelgard was located. He pored over ancient maps, deciphered faded manuscripts, and even learned the archaic dialect spoken in Lara's time. He became obsessed with uncovering every detail about her life, her family, and her city. Tim's parents, initially skeptical of his time travel story, began to see the genuine passion that drove him. They supported his endeavors, even when they didn't fully understand them. They helped him find rare books, funded his research trips, and listened patiently to his endless theories and discoveries. One day, while researching in a dusty archive, Tim stumbled upon a fragmented journal, believed to have belonged to a traveling merchant who visited Ethelgard. The journal contained detailed descriptions of the city, its people, and its customs. As Tim translated the faded script, he felt a thrill of recognition. He found mentions of Lara's family, their trade as flower merchants, and even a description of her playful nature. The journal also revealed a darker side to Ethelgard. It spoke of political intrigue, social unrest, and the ever-present threat of plague. Tim learned that Lara's time was not just a romanticized vision of knights and castles, but a period of hardship and uncertainty. This revelation deepened Tim's respect for Lara and her people. He realized that their resilience and kindness were not just quaint historical traits, but essential qualities that helped them survive in a challenging world. He understood that history was not just about grand battles and famous figures, but also about the everyday struggles and triumphs of ordinary people. Tim's research led him to a small, forgotten village nestled in the hills, believed to be the remnants of Ethelgard. The village was sparsely populated, with only a few crumbling stone houses and a weathered church. But as Tim walked through the silent streets, he felt a strange sense of familiarity. He imagined Alara running through these same streets, her laughter echoing through the air. He met with the village elders, who shared stories passed down through generations. They spoke of a time when the village was a bustling city, a center of trade and culture. They spoke of a young girl with bright eyes and a kind heart, who was remembered for her love of flowers and her gentle spirit. Tim's heart ached with a bittersweet longing. He had found echoes of Alara in the stories and the stones, but she was gone, lost to the sands of time. He realized that he couldn't bring her back, but he could keep her memory alive. He decided to dedicate his life to preserving the history of Ethelgard. He worked with the village elders to document their stories, to restore the crumbling buildings, and to create a small museum that would showcase the city's rich history. Tim's work attracted the attention of historians and archaeologists. They were intrigued by his unique perspective, his ability to connect with the past on a personal level. They recognized that his time travel experience, though unproven, had given him an invaluable insight into the lives of people from centuries ago. Tim became a respected historian, known for his groundbreaking research and his passionate advocacy for historical preservation. He wrote books and articles, gave lectures, and even hosted a popular television series that brought history to life for a new generation. He never forgot his time travel adventure, or the old clock that had made it possible. He kept the clock in his study, a constant reminder of the extraordinary journey that had shaped his life. He often wondered if the clock would ever work again, if he would ever be able to return to Ethelgard. One evening, as Tim sat in his study, surrounded by his books and papers, he felt a strange tingling sensation. He looked at the clock, and its hands began to spin, slowly at first, then faster and faster. The air around him shimmered and distorted, and a familiar dizzying sensation washed over him. When the spinning stopped, and Tim's vision cleared, he found himself standing in a familiar marketplace. But this time it was different. The city was bustling with activity, but the people were dressed in modern clothes, and the sounds were a mix of ancient and contemporary. He had traveled to Ethelgard in a different time, a time when the city had been rebuilt and modernized. He wandered through the streets, his heart pounding with anticipation. He saw familiar landmarks, but they were transformed, integrated into the modern cityscape. He came across a bustling park, filled with children playing and families picnicking. He saw a young girl with bright eyes and a familiar smile, selling flowers from a basket. He approached her, his voice trembling. "Excuse me," he said, "are you Lara?" The girl looked up at him, her eyes widening in surprise. "Yes," she said, "but how do you know my name?" Tim's heart leaped with joy. He had found Alara again, not the girl he had known in the 14th century, but a descendant, a living echo of her spirit. He told her about his time travel adventure, about her ancestor, and about his lifelong fascination with Ethelgard. Alara listened intently, her eyes filled with wonder. She told Tim that her family had passed down stories of a mysterious visitor from another time, a kind and curious boy who had shared their lives for a brief period. She showed him a small, faded portrait of her ancestor, the Lara he had known in the 14th century. Tim realized that his time travel adventure had not just been a personal journey, but a thread woven into the tapestry of Ethelgard's history. He had become a part of their story, a legend passed down through generations. He spent the rest of his days in Ethelgard, sharing his knowledge and his experiences. He worked with the city's historians to document the connection between the past and the present, to preserve the legacy of Laura and her time. Tim's life had come full circle. He had traveled through time, found a connection to the past, and returned to share his discoveries with the future. He had become a living bridge between two worlds, a testament to the enduring power of history and the enduring spirit of humanity. He learned that time was not a linear progression, but a complex web of interconnected moments. The past, present, and future were intertwined, influencing and shaping each other. He understood that every action, every choice, had ripples that echoed through time, affecting not only the present but also the future. And as he looked at the bustling city of Ethelgard, a blend of ancient and modern, he knew that his journey had just begun. He would continue to explore the threads of time, to uncover the hidden stories, and to share the lessons of the past with the world. He knew that the echoes of Ethelgard would continue to resonate through time, a reminder of the enduring power of human connection and the timeless beauty of history.
Rita loved listening to stories. She didn't care if they were long or short. But when they were real, about someone's life, they touched her heart in a special way. One day, she listened to a story about a boy. He missed his mother who worked far away. The words were simple, but full of feeling. Rita felt like the boy was talking to her. Each time she listened, she learned new words. She didn't study grammar, she just felt the story. The voice told her more than just words. It showed her pain, joy, and hope. She noticed how people said things differently. Soft words when someone was sad. Happy tones when something good happened. Her ears began to catch every small change. Rita started sharing her own story too. She recorded herself and listened back. At first, she felt shy and unsure. But with time, she grew stronger and clearer. One evening, her teacher said something kind. "Your English is improving fast, Rita." She smiled and said, "It's because of stories." Real stories made English come alive. Now, Rita listens to one story every day. It's like walking into someone's world. She laughs, cries, and learns without trying. Her heart and ears grow together. If you want to grow your English too, start with a story that touches your heart. Let it guide you, word by word. Because real stories teach more than books. Rita found a YouTube channel with soft music and real stories. The speaker talked slowly and clearly. Each story was like a warm cup of tea. It calmed her mind and opened her heart. One story was about a girl named Sarah. Sarah had to leave her home during a storm. She cried when she talked about her dog. Rita wiped her tears as she listened. Rita didn't know the word evacuate before. But the story helped her understand it. She saw the fear in Sarah's voice. That one word stayed with her forever. Now, every word had meaning. It wasn't just in a book anymore. It was alive in people's stories. It made learning feel real and warm. She began writing down her favorite phrases. Hold on to hope. You're stronger than you know. Each sentence felt like a hug. And it made her vocabulary grow. One day, she heard a story from an old man. He lost his wife but kept her letters. His voice shook, but he smiled through it. Rita listened closely to every pause and breath. She started understanding English feelings, not just words. When people whispered, she leaned in. When they laughed, she smiled too. Listening became her superpower. At school, her teacher asked a question. Many students stayed quiet, unsure. Rita raised her hand with confidence. She answered with words she learned from stories. After class, her friend said, "How do you speak so well?" Rita laughed and said, "I just listen a lot. Not just to lessons, but to life in English." That made all the difference. At home, she told her mom, "English is not just a subject now. It's part of my heart, thanks to stories." Her mom hugged her with proud tears. Rita even helped her younger brother. She told him bedtime stories in English. Slowly, he began to understand more. He smiled when he recognized a word. Their family made it a habit. One story every night, in simple English. They laughed, listened, and learned together. English became their family language of love. So if you feel English is hard today, don't worry. Just start with a story. Let it speak to your heart. Because your ears will follow your heart. As weeks passed, Rita's love for stories grew deeper. She listened while walking, cooking, even before bed. Each voice taught her something new. Every emotion made the English real. She began writing her own short stories. Simple words, but full of feeling. She recorded them in her own voice. Then listened back to learn and improve. At first, she didn't like her own voice. It sounded strange and unsure. But her teacher said, every voice matters. So Rita kept trying, a little each day. One story she wrote was about her grandmother. A kind woman who baked bread with love. Rita described the smell, the kitchen sounds. It made her classmates smile and feel hungry. She started sharing her recordings online. Just small clips with English subtitles. People from other countries began to listen. They left kind comments and hearts. A girl from Brazil messaged her one day. Your story helped me learn the word courage. Rita felt tears in her eyes. She never thought her story could help someone else. Now, Rita wasn't just a learner. She had become a storyteller too. She realized stories connect people everywhere. No matter where they're from or what they speak. She made a little space in her room. A table, a lamp, and a notebook. That became her story corner. A place where dreams were written in English. Her brother joined her sometimes. He drew pictures for her stories. Together, they made storybooks in English. It was fun, and they learned without pressure. One day, her school held a story contest. Rita shared a true story about a lost kitten. Her voice was clear, her heart was strong. She won first prize, and loud applause. Her teacher said, "You didn't just speak English. You made us feel something deep." Rita smiled proudly, her eyes shining bright. Stories had given her a new voice. She began dreaming of something bigger. Maybe a podcast or a YouTube channel. A place where people could listen and learn. Just like she did, with love and care. Her mom said, "Go for it, Rita. You found your gift through stories." Rita nodded and whispered, "It all started with listening." And she opened her notebook once more. Rita chose a name for her channel, Listen with Heart. She wanted every listener to feel safe, just like she once did while learning. Her first video was simple and soft. She shared the story of her first English sentence. "How are you today?" she had once whispered. And now, she spoke with strength and joy. She added pictures and soft background music. She spoke slowly so others could follow. And she added English subtitles with care. The video felt warm, just like a hug. In a few days, people started watching. Some were students from her school. Others were strangers from different countries. But all of them left kind messages. Your voice is calm. I understood every word. Thank you for sharing real stories. These comments made Rita's heart full. Every week, she posted a new story. Sometimes it was about friendship. Sometimes it was about her childhood. And sometimes, about small dreams. She didn't use hard grammar or big words. She just spoke from her heart. Her English wasn't perfect, but it was honest. And that made people listen more. Rita received an email from a teacher in Japan. "My students love your videos," it said. "They listen every morning before class." Rita read it twice, smiling in surprise. She also got a voice message from a boy in Turkey. "I listen to you when I feel lonely," he said. "Your stories make me feel brave." Rita cried happy tears that night. Now her room looked different. There was a microphone, a laptop, and notes. But the most important thing stayed the same, her heart spoke through every word. Rita was once afraid to speak. Now she helped others find their voice. And it all began with one small story. One story that she listened to with care. She told her viewers, don't rush learning. Let English grow inside your heart. Listen with love, not fear. And one day, you'll share your story too. Her channel grew, but she stayed humble. Each video was like a gift to the world. She always said, this is for the listener in me. The little girl who once listened and dreamed. And so, Rita's story continues today. She still listens, still learns, still shares. Because personal stories are not just words, they are bridges that bring hearts together. One afternoon, Rita received a letter in the mail. It was written by a girl named Amina from Egypt. She said, your stories helped me speak in class. I used to be scared, but now I'm not. Rita held the letter close to her heart. She never imagined her voice could travel so far. But now, someone in another country felt braver because of a story that once made her cry. More messages came from all over the world. A boy from India listened while walking to school. A grandmother in Italy watched with her grandson. A teenager in Mexico said, you teach with feeling. Rita realized something very important. People don't just learn English with rules. They learn with kindness, with connection, and with the warmth of a real story. She started a new project on her channel. It was called, Your Voice, Your Story. She invited her viewers to send in their own stories. Stories of childhood, family, hope, or change. The first story came from a girl named Lila. Lila lost her father when she was small. She wrote about how she missed his jokes. Rita read it aloud, slowly, with soft music behind. People listened in silence and left gentle comments. You are brave, Lila. Your story touched me. Even those still learning English understood the feeling. Because emotions speak louder than words. Week after week, Rita shared more stories. Some made people cry, others made them laugh. And each one taught a little English too. New words, new phrases, and deep understanding. Soon, her channel reached 100,000 subscribers. But Rita didn't care about numbers. She cared about the people who listened. And the hearts that grew through every story. She started doing live story sessions. Viewers from many countries joined in. They greeted each other in English. And shared short messages from their lives. Rita smiled and said, you are all storytellers. Don't wait for perfect English. Start now. Tell the world who you are, little by little. Your voice is enough. One day, her brother whispered, sister, you changed the world with a story. Rita held his hand and said, no, I just listened. That's where it all began. One morning, Rita got an email from a school. It was from a teacher in a small village in Kenya. He wrote, our students listen to you every Friday. They call it Story Day with Rita. She felt joy bloom in her chest. She never imagined her voice could reach Africa. She quickly wrote back with love and thanks, promising to send a special story for them. That evening, she wrote a new tale. It was about a young boy who fixed his old bike. He didn't give up, even when things were hard. The story was simple but full of courage. When the class in Kenya listened to it, they clapped and sang a thank you song. The teacher recorded their smiles and sent it. Rita cried as she watched it again and again. She decided to create a free storybook. A collection of short, easy stories from her channel. She added simple English, vocabulary boxes, and warm drawings made by her brother. She called the book Stories That Speak to You. It was for learners, dreamers, and quiet hearts. Anyone who wanted to grow with stories could download it and begin their journey. Rita also visited a school in her city. The students waited with wide eyes and notebooks. She read a story in soft English and said, "Do not fear mistakes. They are part of learning." One shy girl raised her hand and asked, "Can I tell my story too?" Rita nodded with a smile, and the girl began. Her voice shook, but her eyes were bright. Everyone clapped when she finished. Rita leaned down and whispered, "You are a storyteller now." The girl whispered back, "Because of you." More schools invited Rita to speak. She read stories and listened to others. Each voice mattered, each heart was heard. English became more than a language, it was a bond. Her channel reached 1 million subscribers. But to Rita, the best number was one. One listener. One learner. One heart opened. That was enough to keep going. At night, she still sat by her window. She looked at the stars and whispered, "Thank you, little Rita, for not giving up. You turned your fear into a gift for the world."